Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers tonight from Spokane, Washington. Our matchup, a really good one. Butler travels on the road to the Kennel to take on Gonzaga. And hi everyone, Dave Fleming, happy to have you with us. Happy holidays to you. Two programs here, Butler, Gonzaga. They share a whole lot more in common than just the Bulldogs nickname. Both of these teams have used great success in the last decade or so to vault themselves from non-power conferences into power program status. And as we get you ready for our matchup here tonight, our one-on-one shows you really the architects of that success, the two head coaches for Butler, Brad Stevens, a couple of appearances in the national championship game. Mark Few, great success here at Gonzaga. Both coaches a little while earlier tonight talked with my broadcast partner, Sean Farnham.
All right, thanks so much. Let's start with Coach Stevens. Gonzaga, a picture of consistency. What does it mean when you look at 11 straight conference titles and what Mark Few's been able to accomplish here?
We always say the hardest thing is to win consistently in the regular season, and certainly when you're at a non-BCS school in January and February with a microscope on your losses, to continue to win at that level is almost unheard of. And I think it's the hardest thing to do in college basketball. They've won more championships in a row than any other team in my lifetime. And when you think about it in that manner, I think it's one of the most remarkable achievements in basketball. He's done a great job, and this is a great setup. First time I've been out here.
Remarkable job for Coach Stevens' team, Mark Few. Back-to-back national championship games. You know how difficult it is when you get to March to try to advance to the tournament. How impressed have you been with what Butler's been able to do?
I mean, impressed isn't the word. I mean, amazed and just happy. I mean, happy because they've done it the right way. And, you know, I just think it's a testament when you get a group of guys on the same page and you get a great leader who really knows how to push them and prod them and get them in the right positions. Anything can happen. And, you know, there isn't a school in the country, think about this, Sean, that wouldn't trade the last 2 years for what Butler's done. There's not one program in the country that wouldn't have loved to get to back-to-back national championship games. And it's just such a testament to Brad and his group of guys and the administration and everybody at Butler. And it's been, I think it's the best story in college basketball in the last 20, 25 years.
We've got two of the best coaches in all the country going after each other tonight. Thanks so much. Go back to Dave.
And we do appreciate both coaches giving us a few minutes before the game. Starting lineups first for Butler. Ronald Norrid is the leader. A couple other changes we'll talk about here early in this game. On the other side of things for Gonzaga, the other Bulldogs here at home inside the Kennel with all their recent success, particularly here at home. Gary Bell Jr. and Kevin Pangos, all freshmen backcourt to complement the experienced front line. The head coach for Gonzaga, Mark Few, talking to his team just moments before tip-off here. And in the huddle for Butler, the huddle now having broken up, Brad Stevens. He put on a tie after his chat with my partner Sean Farnham in his 5th season. Almost unprecedented success as the head coach at Butler.
Yeah, it's interesting when Coach Few, and a great relationship between these two head coaches. When Coach Few came out in the tie, Coach Stevens looked at him and said, "Mark, I thought we weren't going with the tie." And he goes, I just figured you would be wearing your tie. So a great respect between these two head coaches. And as I said, two of the finest coaches in all of college basketball, and you see it in the consistency in how they run their program.
And I think a neat thing about this sport is that these two teams are willing to play one another in the regular season. Butler traveling all the way out here to Gonzaga as Robert Sacre, Kyle Marshall, the opening tip controlled by Ronald Norrid and Butler. Butler, a team that prides itself on tough defense. They have not been a real fluid offensive team so far this season. Part of the reason for their 5-6 record coming into this run. Gonzaga is 7-2. They're only 2 losses to a couple of ranked Big Ten teams. Jackson Aldridge in the starting lineup here tonight. Eric Fromm on the perimeter knocks down a 3.
And Fromm gets the start over Andrew Smith. A couple of reasons why. You don't want Andrew Smith picking up some early fouls against Robert Sacre, as he loves to post up in the middle of the paint. And the other reason why, Brad Stevens said they need to get their offense going, and Fromm can really stretch it from the outside, as you saw in that opening possession.
So he's getting the start. Gonzaga going down low to Elias Harris. His first shot well off the mark. And Roosevelt Jones, one of the several freshmen for Butler playing big minutes, comes away with a defensive board. Much younger, much different Butler team than the one that played UConn for the national title last spring. Gonzaga likes to play quick tempo. Pangos all the way down the court.
An area of concern for Butler has been their transition defense in the early stages of this season. At times, they are not getting back below the level of ball, stopping and picking it up. And they've allowed too many easy transition looks, specifically in the first half.
Saw that there. Fromm had the ball poked away and a foul called. The first foul of the game goes against Gonzaga.
You see Pangos just drives through everybody. Easy layup, nobody stepping in front, taking the charge.
Butler on the inbound. Ronald Norwood has been around for all the great tournament success in these last few years. Aldridge, his three is no good. Roosevelt Jones, offensive rebound.
Coach Stevens loves Roosevelt Jones. Said he could be probably a great NFL tight end one day if he really wanted to be, but a very good basketball player that's made an impact early in his career here. You go back to that Purdue game on Saturday where he stepped up and he guarded Robbie Hummel the entire contest. And look back at the defense overall for Butler in the second half. 8 minutes and 48 seconds. They did not allow a made field goal. So the sense of urgency has to be there at the defensive end tonight.
Sacre, triple team down low, gets his own miss, and Pangos is wide open. Jones, another rebound. Fromm shoots another three, so not shy early on, but not that time. Mike Hart with the ball, much more of a defensive role player for Gonzaga. Not a big part of their offense, but Hart with the nice look from Sacre. Didn't shoot the ball. He will shoot for three.
Slow start by both teams offensively. Neither one really getting into a flow. And Butler was seeing a lot of their dribble weave action up top. Handing off, trying to create mismatches. Make Gonzaga shift their defense side to side.
Well, Sean mentioned the win against Purdue. Butler had lost 3 games in a row, and they came from well back to beat Purdue just this past weekend. Fromm, wild shot, but out of bounds off of Sacre and Gonzaga, so it stays Butler ball.
A much needed win for Butler. Struggling in the early stages of the season, and Coach Stevens told me when we spoke earlier about that particular game, he said for a group that is trying to find its own identity, you know, you look at the back-to-back national championships, but they've lost so many of those components, those major pieces of the puzzle that helped lead them all the way to the national title game. This team and this group has to learn how to win.
Well, just into the game, Chase Stegall threw the ball away on the inbound pass, and that does not make Coach Stevens very happy. Unforced turnover there from Butler.
And if you're going to win in one of the more difficult environments in college basketball, you have to value each possession. You can accept turnovers. Try to get the ones that are forced, not the ones where you just shoot yourself in the foot.
McCarthy Athletic Center, they call it the Kennel here on the campus of Gonzaga since this building opened. Gonzaga's 93-7. Elias Harris coming off a monster game in Gonzaga's win against Arizona. There's his first bucket tonight.
He is playing with such better confidence, aggressiveness, looking for a shot. I spoke with him before the game. I said, Elias, what's going on in the last 2 games? You're shooting 73%, averaging close to 19 points per game. He said, you know what? I'm just not thinking anymore. I came out trying to do too much against Michigan State. Game he really struggled in.
25 points, 8 rebounds for Elias Harris against Arizona. Butler on offense here. Fromm got open down low and rattles it home.
Good ball movement that time by the Butler Bulldogs.
And Eric Fromm getting the start, averaging just 8 minutes per game coming into tonight. Has scored a couple of baskets and draws the foul there.
And good job positioning himself and stepping right in front of the shoulder. Robert Sacre wants to get in the middle of that paint defensively. You have to have an awareness and work early. Butler's working early. They've got a 1-point lead.
Back here in Spokane, Butler with the early 5-4 lead against Gonzaga. The Butler Bulldogs, of course, have vaulted themselves into the elite in college basketball with what happened in the last 2 NCAA tournaments. Really unprecedented success for a team from a non-power conference in 2010. Gordon Hayward and company knocked off Michigan State in the Final Four, advanced to the title game. They ultimately lost in that thriller to Duke. And then just last season, VCU was the victim in the national semifinals before Butler fell to UConn. Connecticut, the national title last year. But Butler, 2 straight appearances in the national title game. Nobody thought that was possible.
Well, and the thing about the way that Coach Stevens has built this program and the way his guys have responded, you go back to even a year ago, they got off to a little bit of a sluggish start in the non-conference, or fell below what the bar was set for them, and then they rattled off 14 consecutive wins to reach that national championship game. And they've done it the Butler way. So far this season, though, that Butler way has been a little bit difficult to find.
And another example of it there, a very rare mistake by Butler.
2 times on out of bounds underneath. At opposite ends of the floor, they've had turnovers.
Should not be a real complicated play as Ronald Norred reaches in and commits a personal foul. Off the bench for Butler. For the first time this year, Andrew Smith, number 44 there, Sean, the big man, has checked into the game.
Well, and Coach Stevens said he wasn't going to get the start tonight because worried about maybe him picking up some early fouls. They want to make sure he's out on the floor because they need his offense, and had the huge tip-in against Purdue, the game-winning tip-in basket to win that game in Indianapolis. A big part of what they need to do offensively to have success. He's now out there. He's in a better flow, seeing how this game is developed.
He had started every game this season prior to tonight, averaging 10.6 rebounds. After the foul, Gonzaga has the possession. Butler's defense really sagging off Mike Hart. Angos away from the bucket. Shot clock down to 6. Hart will have to shoot this time. Scores!
You mentioned Mike Hart not known for his offense. There's so many of the little things that don't show up in the box score. Hustle plays, diving for loose balls, charges, but shot clock winding down. He needed to step up for his team, and he knocks down a good one.
Roosevelt Jones on the perimeter, hounded by Hart. Now Norred, not known for his outside shooting, but you wouldn't know it there. He hits the 3. Gary Bell trapped, does a nice job to get out of there. Harris shoots a 3. Good!
And that is where he's really elevated his game. He spent the entire offseason getting more confident in his outside shot. He's now 5 for his last 6 3-point field goal attempts.
All the times you and I have seen Gonzaga these last few years, Sean, usually you know right away what kind of game Elias Harris is going to have. And it looks good tonight. Segal just launches one up. Woods was there, and Smith scores off the Woods pass.
Smith is so quick on the release. He can go over either hand with that little half hook. Doesn't even need to elevate.
Butler's offense playing pretty well in the early going. Harris gets the ball again down low against the freshman Woods, who alters the shot. Hart there for the offensive rebound.
And that's Mike Hart basketball right there. Hustle plays, coming off a 6-point, 6-rebound performance against Arizona.
Harris will get another touch. This time uses the spin move very nicely to draw the foul.
Understanding where the defense is, feeling the defense. Elias Harris has gotten much better at that. Sometimes he surveys it. This time he feels the elbow on his back, rolls right off of it, able to draw the foul. That is a veteran play. You know, people forget about Elias Harris. Had such a great freshman year and then struggled a little bit as a sophomore, but he spent that entire summer playing internationally for one of the German national teams. Because of that time away, he never really got to focus on his skill development, his conditioning, his nutrition. This offseason, he was able to do that as he stayed in Spokane, and I think that's why we're starting to see his numbers creep back up even above what they were his freshman year.
Explosive athlete, has a chance to be one of the best players in the West Coast Conference. Really already is one of those. Makes 1 of 2 free throws. A couple more substitutions for Gonzaga, and a man who just committed a foul against Jackson Aldridge, Guy Landry-Eddy, just into the game. And just back with this program, he's been practicing with Gonzaga, but Guy Landry-Eddy junior college transfer, but a native of Africa, and then played his basketball in France. Just became eligible and made his debut this weekend against Arizona. Bad pass here and a steal by Sam Dower. Eddie takes it to the bucket. Aldridge rips away the defensive board. Missed opportunity.